The most profound thing I learned at the Mona School of Business and Management is how to work with people who have diverse views after looking at the same information.
I would say emotional intelligence as a concept and its importance in leadership.
The importance of team and how that can really and truly, shape the outcome of your life, your business.
The leadership, that was a pivot for my taking off to where I am today.
I've found that when you do your current job well, people will see and recommend you, and you yourself will gain confidence in how you perform.
I think it's very important to work hard. It's critical in creating an atmosphere of wholesomeness.
I feel that Mona School of Business and Management is the top management training institution in the region.
Just straight excellence.
So I'd recommend the Mona School of Business and Management, both for undergraduate and postgraduate studies.
You are going to be impacted positively.
It worked for me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this, our first virtual orientation session for our graduate students. On behalf of the entire MSBM, a very hearty welcome to all of you. We're very delighted that you have joined us this evening, and already we see numbers of you online, more than 130 at last count. And so we want to say, first of all, that we do not take it for granted that you have chosen MSBM, because we know you have choice. And so we want to say thank you for that in the first instance. And secondly, thank you for deciding to spend your evening with us this evening. When many of you would have met us perhaps in January at our information session, and who would have thought then that the world would have changed as much as it has? But we are resilient people, and so here we are. And so we want to congratulate you, first of all, for having made this decision to pursue graduate studies, but also that despite all the challenges of this season, you are pursuing your goals, you are investing in yourself, you're planning for a better future to fulfill your dreams. And so we salute you for that. Our commitment to you is that we will support you along this journey, and you will hear more about the ways in which we will do that as the program progresses. It is therefore only left for me to welcome our Executive Director, Dr. David McBean, who will offer the official welcome on behalf of the school. Dr. McBean.
Good afternoon and welcome has propelled a lot of our graduates into more senior and rewarding careers. And as you may have seen in some of the videos, MSBM graduates count among the top executives in the country. So for example, Don Webby, head of Grace Kennedy and Company, will be seen as a MSBM graduate, and Leighton McKnight, senior partner on Price Waterhouse, is as well. So we are confident that what we have done and the education we have delivered is worth it. You will consider this a sacrifice of your time and of your resources as well, and we think it's well spent. So I want to say to everybody here, a very big welcome. Welcome to the MSBM family, one of the top business schools in the Latin American Caribbean region. Welcome to the University of the West Indies, which is a top 3% university. We will do our best to make you feel at home. So I'll go through very quickly through my presentation here, and it will be to just familiarize yourself with what you have, what we have here for you, and how we will deliver. First, I'd like to introduce the team, and I'll go through very quickly, but you'll meet them there. So, of course, myself, my name is David McBean. I'm the executive director of the school. We have two deputy executive directors, Dr. Lila Rao Graham, who manages the MBA, the MBM, diploma, and the DBA programs. Dr. Andrew Spencer, who is just returning from secondment, and he's the deputy ED in charge of undergraduate affairs. We have Dr. Indiana Minter Coy. She's the academic director for the MSc programs. And missing here is Professor Loan Barkley, who will be the academic director for the DBA. We have a unit called the Professional Services Unit that does consulting and executive education. That's headed up by Dr. Franklin Johnson. Dr. Maurice McNaughton heads up the Center of Excellence and Innovation. Ms. Janice Henlin, who did the introduction, is our Director of Marketing. Ms. Merlin Reed, who is a very important lady to know because she's the Finance Director, and you will refer to her for all monetary activities. Now, academically, we divide the school into units, and the units oversee academic affairs both in the graduate school, of which you're a member, and the undergraduate school. So Shirley Ann Eaton is the Director for Finance and Accounting. Dr. Noel Cowell does Behavioral Sciences and General Management. Dr. Charlotte Donalds heads up the Decision Sciences Group. And I should mention that Dr. Indiana Minter Coy is also heading up, for the time being, the Marketing, International Business Entrepreneurship and Strategy Group. Mr. Peter Morris is our HR Director. Now we have an innovation in MSBM, and these are our executives in residence. And these form a bridge between the business school and the business community. And we're very lucky to have Harry Smith, who is chairman of Digital Jamaica and an extraordinary marketer, and Jimmy Moss Solomon, who is a retired Grace Kennedy executive with a wealth of experience and knowledge. And they interact with, as I said before, the business community and you, the students. So you'll meet them over time. You'll see a picture of a lot of people on the right. These are your coordinators. In the interest of time, I won't go through them individually, but each program, whether it's the MBA or the MSTs, would have an assigned coordinator, and you will meet your individual coordinators in the breakout rooms. But they're an invaluable guide to you during your time here. Just some quick ones. Life with COVID-19, it's a new thing for us. we at the school are promoting health and safety first, and most of your classes will be online as well as exams. We'll have limited face-to-face interactions where necessary, and most likely in very small groups. So when you visit the school, just the usual guidelines, I'm sure everybody knows them, but we just have to repeat them. Social distancing, sanitizing, and masks are mandatory. And we have to remember that every century, we as humans have gone through this. So we will make this through. Don't worry too much. Some of our guidelines for success, and other speakers will go through this. First thing, we have some rules, academic rules, and they're there for a reason. You may not always understand them, you may not always agree with them, but we have to abide by the rules. That's what makes the system work. And it's very essential because these are the things that will determine how you graduate with what class of degree and when. And we have someone from graduate studies who will go through this. The handbooks are your Bible. Your coordinators are your guides and your assistants. So what's in the rules are in the handbooks. And this is what you have to follow. We sometimes get a lot of problems because people have their own interpretations, or your friend who used to be at the school told you something. The guidelines sometimes change from year to year, so it's very important. Also, in the time of COVID, we're accelerating, automating the campus. You know, when you go automated, the bigger room for discretion is a lot less. So it's very important that we follow what's there. I know a lot of you have had discussions about fees and payments. The finance director will speak a little bit more, but I thought it important to make a few points. You would have known from orientation and your documentation that your charges are in US dollars. And as with any other business, and of course our business school, payments in other currencies are at the daily exchange rate. And this is what normally obtains. However, we're cognizant of the tough times, but we also have to balance. So even though a lot of people feel that online is cheaper, it actually requires more resources if you do it properly. And one quick example is just tech infrastructure. We need more human resources to be able to deliver the kind of education to ensure that we maintain the same standards and we're accredited, particularly in the MBA. Also, our graduate programs are self-financing, so we don't get the government subvention that is afforded to the undergraduate school. But in all this, we have some good news. So we're offering initially a 5% discount for this semester, and part of that will be reflected in what I call a discounted exchange rate. And so I'll just explain very quickly. The school will fix an exchange rate at 141J to the US dollars till the end of September. And that's actually a 5%, a bit more than 5% discount to the current rate. And as you know, the dollar has been moving. So we will take the FX risk for this semester because by the end of September, all payments we expect should be in. For those of you who are paying in US dollars, we will apply a 5% discount to your payments so that there's no disadvantage between people who are paying in Jamaican dollars or in US dollar payments. Our commitment to you is that we will continually review costs and pass on any further possible discounts to you. But we can't guarantee, but just to emphasize, what we're doing is 5%. This is very recent. We're able to agree this today. So as you go on, we will have more information, and information will be in the website. But the important thing is that we have to be in this together. So the school will be run efficiently and effectively. And any discounts we have will pass on to you. And this exchange rate, I want to emphasize, will be valid until the end of September, at which time we will review in time for the next semester. My plea to you is that if you're having any issues, do not wait until the day before the exam when you might not have been registered or the systems are not open to you since we're doing online. Let your coordinators know or the finance department, and we will be able to work out possible solutions with you. So I close as I started. We expect you to have a successful year despite COVID, and we're here to help. And hopefully next year, this time, we'll all have a big celebration and the pandemic has ended. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. McBean. At this time, I'd like to introduce and invite Dr. Indiana Mintercoy, who is the Academic Director in charge of the MSc programs. She will come and give us a general program overview. Dr. Mintercoy.
Thank you, Ms. Hanlon. Good afternoon, everyone. It is our pleasure to welcome you to the Mona School of Business and Management. I stand here as an individual, but indeed I am also representing my colleague, Dr. Lila Rao-Graham, who's in charge of the MBAs and who's also Deputy Executive Director here at the MSBM. So my goal here this afternoon is simply to give you a brief overview, looking at the structure of our programs and to go through some important tidbits for you. The first slide there, which is a fitting starting point, speaks to our vision, which is to be an excellent, globally recognized business school rooted in the Caribbean. And of course, our mission to advance learning, create knowledge, and foster innovation for the positive transformation of Caribbean enterprises through the development of world-class business professionals and research-based solutions. So it is indeed a pleasure for us to be moving forward with 6 of our MSc programs, our MSc in Accounting, Marketing and Data Analytics, Enterprise Risk Management, Computer-Based Management Information System, Corporate Finance, Logistics, and Supply Chain Management, and of course, our Master in Business Administration. COVID-19, as was mentioned just now, has had a significant impact on all of our society, and so it is in our education sector as well. As such, semester 1 classes will be held online, and we will apprise you of further developments as we go by. All of our programs run the course of 24 months. There's one exception, which is our MSc in Corporate Finance, where we will in fact have a full-time stream this year, as well as our part-time, and that full-time stream will run for 12 months. Our start dates are important to note, and so the MBA program begins on August 16, while the MSCs begin September 7. And of course, the earliest start for the MBAs is strategic. This is based on the specific structure of that program. And so the structure of the MBA program can be described through the acronym ICE. And that is the I for immersion, which takes place in the first month of the program, which will include education on soft and basic business skills. There is the C, which stands for concepts, and that will include 11 core modules and 4 concentration modules. And the program ends with the execution phase, where students will be able to solve real-world problems in groups, which will require them to apply much of the concepts and the learning that took place in the earlier part of the program. For the MSCs, we will have the concepts and application as in the MBA. Our application will involve research papers, final papers, or simulation exercises. And the courses will vary, the number of courses will vary depending on the program that you're in. So I advise you to consult your program booklets, and this will give you further information. One of the things that we want to introduce to the MSc programs for this year will involve personal development and coping sessions. We understand that, yes, you're mature students. At the same time, it is not an easy task to manage studying, working, and personal life. So we will try our best to help you to navigate that this year through some of the sessions that we will introduce. Beyond the structure of our program, I want to introduce you as well that our executive director mentioned our professional services unit. And this is important because while it's not a part of your official graduate program, we're encouraging you to have a look at the suite of programs that are being offered here and see what courses, what short course you can perhaps take on that will complement your graduate program. So the personal services unit offers customized solutions for large and small companies, They also offer executive education through short courses. So there are a number of important documents that will come your way, and I'm encouraging you to go through these over the next couple of days. So you'll have your orientation packages, and within the package, you'll get information that speaks to things like your prerequisites, the registration guidelines, and of course, the MSBM Executive Learning Service, which is actually our graduate course management system. And it's essential for you to understand how to navigate those systems. As well, we will also have other critical resources, such as our program catalog, ebooks, course outlines, and so on. Of course, you'll hear later on about our MSBM app, which is very exciting. We encourage you to as much as possible, utilize all these resources. In addition, your course outlines and your program information will actually give you key data on how we score our courses and what qualifies for an A. And I'm sure that's an area that will be of significant interest to all of you. Now, performance management. I'm sure each of you step back, you assess yourselves and what you need to do to move forward. Hence your reason for being here at the MSBM. You also get assessed at work. And this is no different here at the Mona School of Business and Management. So there's routine assessment that's built into our graduate programs. And this will include coursework, which can reflect participation, reading reviews, and so on. And of course, there's a final examination, and that itself will take different forms. Now, these two bits of information, they're critical for you. So in order for you to get that distinction, and I'm sure some of you are already picturing yourselves holding that distinction at the end of the program. In order for you to actually get that, we required you to have at least 70% A's in all of your courses and have no failures. Additionally, you must pass the coursework element as well as the final exam in order to pass the course, okay? And so that is our grading scheme, which is in your course outlines, your program booklets. In terms of examinations, we will post provisional pass lists after internal examiners sign off on grades. But please note that this does not become official until they've been posted by the examination section of the University of the West Indies. Importantly, we also have our courses that are assessed by external examiners through sampling of coursework and scripts. And so that is important because it is our effort to ensure we secure the quality of our programs and ultimately the quality of the degree that you will graduate with. So some key thoughts, I just mentioned quality and so on. And it's important to highlight that this is a relationship. It's a partnership. And in all relationships, in all partnerships, each partner has a role, a responsibility. And so we faculty, administration, Office of Graduate Studies and Research, the Board of Graduate Studies from the point of view of the Mona School of Business and Management and UE, and you, the students, will all have responsibilities. So where do you fit? You fit as contributors to and beneficiaries in the learning process. You use your individual preferences, and we encourage you to work with the different teaching styles. Bring all of you into the classroom, but of course you will accept that some parts of us don't belong in the classroom if the classroom is to go successfully. There are team building efforts, and we encourage you as well, be prepared for classes, be engaged as much as possible. Where do we fit? We fit as facilitators, as links to the UE systems, and as guardians of guidelines processes in the university. So finally, there are also joint responsibilities, as with any relationship. And so that involves creating an environment which is conducive to the process and outcomes, and importantly, ensuring that each student leaves with the planned outputs and a positive recollection of the time spent here. So finally, here are some of our symbols of our success, and further guarantee that you are in the right place. You did make the right choice. This is an excellent step that you've taken to securing your future. We look forward to welcoming you and to navigating the space with you in the next 24 months. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Minter Coy. I know that was a lot of information, but thankfully, much of that is also in your handbooks. You would have gotten the links to download those packages. And of course, our program coordinators will also be here to assist you on this journey. I'd just like to ask you in the chat to just let us know which programs you are enrolled for, and also to just let us know where you're joining us from, so we can communicate with you. As you've heard, this first semester, we will be doing classes in a virtual remote environment. And we know that for many of you, this is a new experience. And so we just want to have a presentation, now a conversation about the online learning experience, just so you can understand what that entails. And so I will invite Dr. Noel Cowell and Dr. Maurice McNaughton to take us through that. Dr. Cowell.
Thank you very much, Janice. My name is Noel Cowell, and as Janice indicated, and my colleague, Dr. Maurice McNaughton, is somewhere out there in cyberspace. And he's responsible, he's the head of the Center of Excellence and Innovation. He's a technologist by training and inclination. He calls himself a tech guy, and does a wide range of consultants in areas relating to open source, appropriate technologies, things of that nature. Much of the IT, in fact, he has responsibility for IT infrastructure. We're doing well today. It's in large part the result of his doing. All right, so we really want to assist you to come to grips with our online environment.
Dr. Cowell?
And like a lot of you out there in your workplaces and elsewhere, COVID came as a major shock and a major surprise. We prior to our encounter with the COVID pandemic, we took pride in the fact that we were a school that focused on face-to-face engagement. That was, in fact, an important selling point for us. Like everybody else, we had to move very, very, very quickly. And we had to change the way in which we did things. And we did it in a number of ways. And our conversation today between myself and the tech guy is going to give you a sense of how we did that. Maurice?
Yes, can you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Mark, I don't know if you're shy, we're not hearing you.
No, I am not. I am.
Okay. So about the first thing that we had to do was to.
Sorry, Noel, were you hearing me?
You're good. I'm hearing you now.
Oh, very good, very good.
All right, good. Right. So Maurice, you go ahead. I hope we can continue to hear you.
Yeah, okay. Not sure what's going on. Little tech glitch, but are you hearing me now?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I really just wanted to extend my greetings to everyone and to, extend my own personal welcome to all the new members of the MSBM family. And, just reflecting on your comments that, usually this year is an exciting one as we look forward to meeting our new recruits. But as you've said, it's quite different because COVID happened. And so, yeah, let's talk a little bit about what that has meant for us at MSBM and ultimately for the way we engage with our students. So, take us through this, Noel.
Yes, ma'am. And we don't want to create the impression that we're not excited to meet you. We have excitement all around because part of the excitement, of course, the adjustment that we have had to make. And we have had to make a lot of the adjustments that all of you have had to make in your own environments, particularly in relation to social distances. We had to close down the university, as you recall, for a month in order to gather our wits, literally, and to make very critical decisions about how we're going to move forward. And when we came back, we went into what is generally described across the world as remote teaching. We were very careful to make the distinction between remote teaching and online teaching. We recognized that there were some limitations in terms of what we were doing, and that to a large degree, what we were doing was transitioning our normal face-to-face engagement into an online mode, and that there were some limitations there. Maurice, I hope you're hearing me.
I'm hearing you very well. And I just wanted to reflect on the fact that group activities, I think was mentioned earlier when Indiana spoke, really is one of the valuable learning opportunities at MSBM because it provides a simulation, of how problem solving and critical thinking takes place in the real world enterprise. And as a subset of that, our field projects, which is where our students towards the end of their program engage with real organizations tackling real problems, is also one of the important learning experiences. Obviously, COVID has curtailed that somewhat. I think some of our field projects have had to go virtual, but as in the same way that the rest of the world and other sectors and industries are responding to virtual and digital, I think that we've been able to done that reasonably well this year and continue to look for creative and innovative ways of extending that engagement.
And we continue to do that. So in relation to one of the also critical areas was we had to shift our when we closed down, as you know, we were more than halfway through the semester. And one of the critical things we had to do immediately was to look at how we were going to engage with the assessment. And we went online. I cannot tell you that was not a challenge in terms of getting prepared, coming to understand exactly how it was going to work and how we were going to preserve the integrity of your degree, ensure that there was a certain degree of rigor, and ensure that we were, when we certified you, we were sending the right signal to the employer. That was a really, really crucial time. But I think we overcame that, and we were able to successfully pass that hurdle. Of course, in our wider economy, Maurice, you'll talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, indeed, obviously the job losses attendant on the pandemic and the economic downturn has invariably affected some of our students as well.
Right.
And so, I'm actually quite thrilled at the number of new candidates that we have for the upcoming programs, and it suggests that even in the challenges of the times, people still see the pursuit of graduate studies, particularly with MSBM, as a worthwhile endeavor. That's great to see.
So we embrace the change, as I'm sure a lot of you had. And we put this particular quote in this presentation. In fact, we got it. It was pointed out to me by a colleague of mine, and we found that it resonated a lot with what we do, and we commend it here. The quote says, "In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." And this is important from a number of points of view. It's important from the point of view that the university, of course, comprises of a lot of learned people, but we never rest on our laurels. In fact, as much as we are learned, and as much as you come here to be more learned, one of the key principles upon which we function is the whole idea of continuous learning. And it is that principle that enabled us to make the adaptation that we did. And as we move forward, that is going to be a principle that underpins what we continue to do. So
absolutely. Yeah, Noel, just to reflect on that quote, I mean, the capacity to learn and to continue to learn, I think is one of the things that we pride ourselves on the kind of learning experience that we deliver at MSBM. So that when you leave here, you will have learned a lot, but I think perhaps much more important is the capacity that you've developed to do research, to do investigations, to do critical thinking, and to continue learning.
True.
So that resonates quite a lot.
So that here tells you that, look, our classrooms are not going to look like that anymore. So
for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future. And then, in fact, when you're going to be joining us remotely, but we're going to be, and we are now, having gone through the ending of the semester 2 and having gone through a semester 3 at the graduate school and summer term almost completed, we feel much more confident in terms of our ability. We have, in fact, exploited this crisis. The quote we have on the screen is attributed to a number of people. Perhaps at least the most recent to me that famous is somebody called Rahm Emanuel, who is an American politician. He used to work with President Obama. And we have embraced this crisis as much as we would not have wanted it. But the crisis has given us the opportunity to do a number of things. In particular, it has caused us to really re-examine the way in which we teach. So we did a number of things in the transition period. And we have also embraced new opportunities. For example, a matter of training in digital tools. Perhaps, Maurice, you want to elaborate a little bit on the training that we ourselves were subjected to, or we exposed ourselves to.
Right, indeed. I mean, as you said, don't waste a good crisis. And while we have had to make the adjustments like everyone else, I think there are some areas where we've seized on the opportunity to leverage tools like the one we're using now for this virtual orientation to enhance the digital experience. Certainly internally, all of our faculty, all of our lecturers have had to undergo training in a number of these remote, sorry, can you flip back one screen? A number of these remote teaching tools. And again, these are described in your materials, your kits. So our online learning management systems, a variety of those facilitate the online teaching experience. We've had to redesign, as Noel mentioned earlier, our assessments or examinations from these proctored face-to-face traditional exercises to online modes of assessment. And Noel, student engagement, that has become particularly important in this environment, hasn't it?
And in terms of student engagement, we always prided ourselves in running a student-centered school. And we think that was a reality. We have had to re-examine to a very large degree the way in which we do those kinds of things. We have had to re-examine the way we teach. the extent to which we believe, for example, is very much in active learning and for students being engaged in problem-based approaches. There's a concept that we speak about a lot, authentic learning. We believe in that, but our examination, our exposure to this crisis has caused us to rethink quite a good deal of that. And we're taking the opportunity to re-examine a lot of the aspects of the way in which we teach. And that is going to be reflected. So for example, it's being reflected, we're getting our teachers ready, and they're more and more ready. There are various options that we're using in relation to not only the training in relation to the technology, but we're training in relation to online learning, which has their fundamental differences, as we have discovered, between online and face-to-face. For example, if you're in the classroom in front of us, all of you are there, we can see you. We can look at all the body language, the cues. If you're a little bit bored, if you're distracted, if you don't seem to be understanding, we can respond to that immediately. We are learning more and more, find ways of dealing with that. Maurice, we asked our students some questions. You want to comment on that?
So, I mean, this was important because for semesters 2 and 3, we really were forced into making the transition rapidly without a lot of the opportunity to deliberate, as you've just described, on the sort of optimal pedagogy. We thought it was important to get feedback from our students on what that experience was like. And actually, it was quite positive. I think that the majority, 75%, felt that online classes met or exceeded their expectations. I myself found a number of my students who typically have to come up after work for evening classes saying, well, you know, the convenience and the flexibility of doing this online actually has been quite pleasant. So I think the feedback is quite important, not something for us to rest on our laurels by any means, but certainly something we can take forward, because the student's view, the student's perspective, the student experience is absolutely critical to the way we...
And we're absolutely committed to improving on this. There are a couple of other things that our students said to us, and we will leave it. We won't go through each of them. Time is, of course, a constraint. But, you know, they gave us the little survey that we did allowed us to pick up quantitative as well as qualitative data. And one of the interesting quotes you'll see that one of our students said to us, that lectures can become tiresome and monotonic. A single voice echoing what is on screen coaxes the most eager learner into short naps. Ingesting interesting, relevant activities into online sessions may improve the learning environment and experience. Our students were good to us, but they understand these things. They're able to see where the limitations were. I can speak from my own experience to say to you that my students helped me through this transition. So in summary, when you look at the data, they were reporting to us that online classes were better than expected. However, they were less engaging, although they were more convenient. And we got a number of pieces of advice as to what we might do in order to improve. And I can assure you, we're going to take advantage of that advice. I won't reiterate them to you right now, but we're certainly going to take advantage of that advice, and we'll be on an ongoing basis speaking to our students to get a sense as to what experiences they're having and how we can improve those experiences. Absolutely vital to us. Well, in terms of how our students should embrace this technology and how they could maximize it, Maurice, maybe you might want to say something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for our students, and this is especially to our incoming students, I think it's important to embrace digital as a mode of interaction. I mean, it is, notwithstanding COVID having accelerated the onset of what we call a digital economy, but it is going to become, or has become, the dominant mode of interaction in our business or economic or social interactions. And so education is not immune from this shift. And so I think it's important to embrace digital. I think it's important also, as part of this engaging with an embracing of digital to just look beyond the teaching and learning interactions. So it's not just the classes that we deliver online, but also use the opportunity to take advantage of a number of MSBM engagement offerings through digital channels. So we have consistently had public fora, and a number of these have now moved to the digital media. And again, we're trying to use technology platforms such as this one to make such public fora far more interactive and engaging. MSBM interacts through multiple digital channels, social media, or MSBM mobile app. And again, we encourage our students to exploit these ways of interacting with us and to take advantage of the networking opportunities that will arise through extracurricular activities, such as a number of professional clubs, which will continue, whether it's in marketing or accounting or in the tech domain. So these are all opportunities to, embellish the interaction beyond the teaching and learning experience in the digital classroom. And no, I think we just need to encourage our students to make sure that they maximize their time here at MSBM by taking advantage of these opportunities.
Very good, and I thank you. Again, I want you on my own behalf to thank you for having made this choice. We're absolutely committed to ensuring that, given the constraints that we have, that your experience is the best possible experience that we can produce for you. And so we look forward to seeing you. We wish you the greatest of success. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, both Dr. Noel Cohen and Dr. Maurice McNaughton. Just to let you know, students, that later on you will be going to your individual program sessions, and in those sessions, you'll actually have some hands-on experience and exposure to some of the tools that we'll be using as part of this online learning experience. So thank you again, gentlemen. So you have been hearing a lot from those of us who work here, and I know many of you would like to hear from students. What exactly is the experience in terms of how the programs go, etc., from the point of view of the student? And so we have two students who are going to speak to us via video. The first will be Nadine Spence, who is an MBA student at our Western Jamaica campus in Montego Bay, followed by Mr. Jeron Thomas, who is pursuing the MSc in Corporate Finance at the Mona campus. So we begin with Nadine, followed by Jeron.
Hello everyone, my name is Nadine Spence. I am just finishing my MBA, and I must say, what a journey that was. I just want to encourage everyone that this decision is one of the best decisions you've ever made in your life. I started out a little bit shaky, wondering if this is the way, because I have a very busy schedule. But you always want to ensure that you self-actualize. And even though I own my own company, I know that there are other variables to running a business. So the administrative side of it is what I really wanted to conquer in terms of accounting, etc. And doing this course opened my eyes so much. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful that I actually made this choice. I can tell you this, if you have a busy schedule like mine, you are definitely going to have to cut it down. You are going to have to adjust your diary and focus so that whatever it is that they tell you or they teach you, you'll be able to learn and then extend it towards your business or whatever you choose to do. At first, it was a little bit intimidating having not doing school for a while, especially those quantitative subjects. But after delving in, I was really able to conquer some of my fears. So the support that I'd gotten, especially from Mrs. March and her team, is what actually took me over the line, because you need to hear the experiences of others. You need to understand that you are not the first who's actually, going through any kinds of situations. I chose international business because of the business that I am in, and I'm so happy. It actually complements what I am doing, and I am trying to get all my business associates to do this course. I encourage everyone to do this course. You will not regret it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jaron Thomas. I am a student in the MSBM MSc Corporate Finance program. Started in September 2019. This is currently the end of the first year of the program for me. And I just wanted to share some feedback on the past year and what the experience has been like. So I look on the experience at different levels. I look on it from a classroom level. I look on it from the lecturer's level. I'll also look on it from an administration level. And I also share some feedback on the challenges that we face with COVID and how that was handled as well. So let me talk about the classroom level first. The program itself, in terms of structure for the first year, being a professional in the field of corporate finance, I think it was wonderful.
The most profound thing I learned at the Mona School of Business and Management.
Hi everyone, my name is Jaron Thomas. I am a student in the MSBM MSc Corporate Finance program. Started in September 2019. This is currently the end of the first year of the program for me. And I just wanted to share some feedback on the past year and what the experience has been like. So I look on the experience at different levels. I look on it from a classroom level. I look on it from the lecturer's level. I'll also look on it from an administration level. And I also share some feedback on the challenges that we face with COVID and how that was handled as well. So let me talk about the classroom level first. The program itself, in terms of structure for the first year, being a professional in the field of corporate finance, I think it was wonderful. The courses were very applicable to the real world, and the lecturers, I must say that I was very impressed with, for the most part, with how the lecturers delivered the programs. Very interesting was the involvement of external lecturers, people who were guest lecturers from the real world, who would have been part of testing and grading the presentations and basically presenting topics as well. That was really interesting. The courses are structured in a fairly complex way to test you, and it really allows you to absorb the real finance concepts at the graduate level. So that's for the classroom. Let's move to the lecturers. I did mention before that the lecturers really pushed us in the past year, but what I want to say is that lecturers, they share their experiences and they are very experienced, and as a professional, that brings a lot of value because it gives perspectives that I may not be thinking about, and it also informs those who will not be in the working world right now as to what experiences they should expect. Let's think about the challenges faced with transitioning from classroom to online due to COVID. I think that was managed well. For the past 2 semesters we have been using the online platforms, and I just want to say thank you to the UE for implementing the online platform and having it prepared to facilitate this transition in such a difficult time. It has not been 100% perfect, but if I should grade it, I would give it 8 out of 10. There's room for improvement, and I'm looking forward to any further use of the platform where necessary. One other thing that I said I would speak on would be the administration. On the administrative side, it has been the normal administrative challenges, but what I appreciate is the effort taken to improve the experience of the program. The coordinators are accessible, and that's most important, and I look forward to more improvements in the coming year. The coming year promises to be exciting as well. I'm looking forward to the remaining courses. Some of my most exciting courses thus far would be business analytics, corporate finance, business in a global environment. Those are some of the very interesting courses that stood out. Statistics, of course, for the past year. So I'm looking forward to the next year, and I hope you all will enjoy the course as much as I do. I'm really a lover of finance, so it was really interesting, and I selected this program and it met or exceeded my expectations. All the best.
Hi, my name is Siobhan Adista.
Thank you very much. So we've heard from our students, and one of the things that Dr. McBean mentioned at the beginning was the fact that MSBM has a wide network of alumni who have distinguished themselves both in Jamaica and across the region, many owning their own businesses and many serving in senior positions in organizations. And so we want you to get familiar with that network, and that's one of the part of the value proposition that we offer to you as you come. And so we have invited the president of the Alumni Association to make a few remarks to you. Siobhan, let you speak.
Hi, my name is Siobhan Adista, current president of the MSBM Alumni Association. I'm also a member of cohort 14, which may sound like a long time ago for new students. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the new students to MSBM. The MSBM Alumni Association focuses on three main tenets, one being increasing the membership and participation of current and past students. Two is to focus on providing an opportunity for less fortunate students to be able to complete their area of studies by providing grants. And thirdly, to bridge that gap that exists between current and past students. While we are aware that your time here will be focused on completing your area of study, we want to encourage you to seize the networking opportunities that will exist through this MSBM experience. Once again, welcome.
Thank you, Siobhan. Mona School of Business and Management, as you know, is a part of the University of the West Indies, and in fact, we're very proud to say that as the University of the West Indies has been numbered among the top 4% of universities worldwide. And so part of the academic rigor and the oversight that the school has is from the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. And so we have invited a representative, Ms. Georgia Bennett, Assistant Registrar, to speak to you about some of the stipulations and guidelines by that office. Ms. Bennett.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the University of the West Indies, Mona campus. We know that you have choices, and we want to thank you for choosing the UWI to pursue your postgraduate studies. I am Georgia Bennett, and I am the Assistant Registrar in the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. So my presentation today is about the role and functions of the Office of Graduate Studies and Research and its relevance to our graduate students. So the Office of Graduate Studies and Research is an administrative arm of the UWI. We fall under the direction of the Office of the Campus Registrar, as well as the School for Graduate Studies and Research. Our main responsibilities are admissions, when you submitted your applications and supporting documents to the university. It is the Office of Graduate Studies and Research that is responsible for scanning, uploading, and attaching your supporting documents to your application for it to be reviewed by the Mona School of Business and Management and the faculty. It is also our responsibility to inform applicants of the outcome of their application. We are also responsible for registration. Although our students are responsible for registering themselves, our office will provide assistance for persons who have difficulty doing so. We are also responsible for scholarships. However, our scholarships are limited to our research students only, mainly MPhil PhD students. The Office of Graduate Studies and Research is responsible for the examinations of theses and research paper and projects. And we're also responsible for graduation. We submit your name to the Board for Graduate Studies and Research to be considered, and once approval has been granted for the award of degree, we will update your academic record to reflect the award. Now, the Office of Graduate Studies and Research is also the gatekeeper of the university's graduate regulations. As shown on the screen, that's what the booklet looks like. It is also in your online press kit that was sent to you yesterday. It is a guide, and is a guide that you need to keep close to you during your time as a student on the campus. So I'd like to highlight a few of the regulations to you. The first regulation I'd like to highlight is that it's with regards to registration. Students are required to register every semester until their degree is awarded. It should be noted also that failure to register during the stipulated period means that you have voluntarily withdrawn from the university. The next regulation I'd like to bring to your attention with regards to leave of absence. Leave of absence request should be done by the 3rd week of the semester. However, if it is done after the 3rd week of semester, there's a penalty fee. And the penalty fee increases as the longer you take to submit your request. A leave of absence is normally submitted when you want a break from the university as a result of maybe medical reasons, financial reasons, personal reasons, work-related reasons. You are required to submit a leave of absence request. With regards to examinations, it should be noted that to be successful at a course, you must pass both the coursework component as well as the written component of the exam. You have one repeat. You can repeat an exam or a component of an exam only once. If you did not pass it on that second attempt, you're required to withdraw from the university for 2 years. And next reason why you may be required to withdraw from the university is with regard to poor academic performance. So if you have failed 50% or more of the courses within a semester, you are required to withdraw. For example, you sat 3 courses in a semester and you fail 2, you'll be required to withdraw from the university for 2 years. This is what our marking scheme looks like. I'd like to bring to your attention that our pass mark is 50% and anything below that is a failure. Next regulation I'll bring to your attention is with regards to award of distinction. You'll notice that there are 2 regulations that speak to award of distinction. The first one has to do with programs that has to do with programs that students are required to submit a project report or a research paper. And I'll just read the regulation. Degrees which require the submission of a project report or research paper, a distinction is awarded to candidates who achieve an average of 70% or better, grade A, in the written courses and a mark of 70% or better in the research paper or project report. A candidate failing a course, including an elective course, required for the completion of the program shall be ineligible for the award of distinction. The second regulation that speaks to distinction are for programs conducted entirely by courses. A student must obtain a grade A in at least 70% of the courses, and the average mark of all the courses must not be less than 70%. Failure of a core requisite or qualifying course does not exclude students from achieving a distinction. The last regulation I'd like to bring to your attention with regards to plagiarism. Plagiarism has to do with using another person's work, ideas, words, as if it is your own. All our master's students are required to submit, along with their coursework assignment, graduate coursework accountability statement, which is really a statement that says that your coursework assignment is plagiarism-free. However, absence of this statement does not prohibit the university from proceeding with a charge of plagiarism. And the last slide is just to highlight the fact that the Office of Graduate Studies and Research is on social media. We use this media to push information to our students, and students can communicate with us using these platforms. We encourage all MSBM students to follow us on these social media platforms. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm wishing you every success in your academic studies and keep safe.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bennett. I know that was a mouthful, but you have the documents that she referred to in your virtual packages that you received. Now, we've been following the chat, and I noticed there are several questions. Persons are asking about some of the fees, etc. So I'm pleased to invite Ms. Merlin Reed, the Director of Finance at MSBM, to speak to you about the investment that you will make in yourselves for your better future. Ms. Reed?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the new norm, meeting with your classmates. This is unprecedented, but this is how we do it until better days are ahead of us. Let me use about 2 minutes just to run through your tuition payment schedule. I don't want to bore you too much. Most of the information are on our website, and you, of course, can email us or call us, and we will provide any additional information that you may need. So just to advise that, I think the ED has said it earlier, that MSBM is self-supporting. So your fees are important to us, and all our programs are required to be self-sustaining. So I just want to look at some of the summary of some of the programs that we currently offer for this year. We look at the MBA, and which is a lower duration of 24 months. And all our fees are quoted here in US dollars. And of course, you have the, you can pay both in US or local currency. So the MBA is 16,000, CBMIS, MSc CBMIS is 8,000, MSc Accounting, Corporate Finance, Logistics and Supply Chain Management, and Marketing and Data Analytics, US $10,000. for the entire program, and the MSc in Enterprise Risk Management is US $12,000. So let's look at some of the schedule, how you would pay your fees. If you're, for example, applying for the corporate finance full-time program, you would pay your fees in 3 installments starting in September, in US $3,333.33 per semester. And the dates for your payments are listed online in the catalog. I must say here, for the corporate finance, these students who register for the full-time program, we have a small scholarship from JMMB. It's a small amount, but I'm sure it will be useful. So we will advise you later of how you can apply for that scholarship, and the amount is in $362,500. The other programs, the other MSc programs, your fees will be paid over 6 semesters starting September, and the amount is US $1,666.66 per semester. The MSc Computer-Based Management, the CBMIS, that fee is $8,000 and it's US $1,333 per semester. The MBA has a slightly different payment schedule, and one of the reasons is because of the immersion period. So the MBA students will make a deposit of $1,600 US, and thereafter $2,400 US per semester. Your fees, as you said earlier, may be paid in US currency or Jamaican currency. And the ED spoke about the exchange rate for this academic year starting now. Payment guidelines. We have some payment options available to you. You can use online transfer via our banking account, both US and Jamaican dollars. All the information on the payments are online. We have a payment gateway with Bill Express. You can pay online using your debit or credit card, or you can pay at Bill Express outlets. You can use bank transfer slip that are pre-printed. You can pay us at the MSBM office. We do not accept cash. We ask that you do not make payment to UE using the UE online platform. The funds will go through the university, and we'll have to wait a while in order to get that money to update your account. Miscellaneous fees. For this academic year, the amount is $16,721. The amount is payable in Jamaican currency, and all students are required to pay the miscellaneous fees once they are registered in our program. We ask, there are some useful reminders that once you have paid your fees, we ask that you submit those bank confirmations to us so that we can use it to verify the amount paid and update your account. From time to time, we know that students have made payment, but for some reasons, we are not aware of who the parties are, and we are unable to update your account in a timely manner. We also ask that you review your account on SAS on a regular basis to ensure that your accounts are up to date. So if you have made a payment, check your account to see if your account has been up to date. If not, please make contact with us. And some more reminders here. Students, some students come to us from time to say that they are being sponsored by organizations. We're going to ask that once you are being sponsored, that you submit a copy of that sponsor letter to us, or the commitment to us, so that we can use it to verify the reason for the delay in your payment. That letter will not provide you with financial clearance, but it will also give you clearance to attend your classes and so forth. Financial clearance is given once you have paid your fees in full. It will be automatic. Students are reminded that there is a graduate loan available at the Students' Loan Bureau. Interest rate is currently 9.5%, and the amount is $1.2 million, and applications are usually ongoing. Let me remind you that examinations by nature are very stressful, and don't add another layer of stress during your exam period to deal with fees. Be proactive, make your financial arrangement early. Tuition fees will be charged and billed on a semester basis, so your account will be reflected by semester. We have 2 other scholarships available for MSc accounting full-time students in the amount of $500,000 each. Please, once you have got the information to apply early. Your tuition fee is a huge investment. Ensure that you get the highest ROI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reed. So you would have heard the information about the fees, the opportunities for scholarships, and the regulations regarding fees. Just to remind you that the details are in our tuition guideline on our website, and you would have gotten that information as well in the packages that you received yesterday. Also to remind you, the number of questions we're seeing about details of individual programs, to remind you that we are arranging to have specific sessions to deal with individual programs, at which point you can get some of these details. We will attempt to answer many of the questions here, but do remember that there is another opportunity for all of you. So at this point, I'm going to invite Mrs. Vanda Levy Macmillan, Teaching Fellow and Academic Counselor, to just speak about the ways in which you can navigate this whole process of pursuing graduate education. Vanda?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mona School of Business and Management. We're actually very pleased to have you. We haven't met you yet, but we're pleased to have you, and we hope that you enjoy your journey with us, and we're going to try to make it your best experience ever. The first thing I'd like to point out, which may not be so obvious, but keep it as a backdrop as you go forward. A graduate degree is an application degree. So it's not so much regurgitating what you know, but using what you know, what you have learned in class to solve problems. In other words, you are now a master at what you do. So when you get back to work, if you are a full-time student, or when you get back to work after you have left class the night before, and an issue comes up, you will be able to use what you have learned to actually solve that problem at work. And that's what being a master is all about. Okay, with that said, that's the backdrop going forward. So just keep that in mind, please. Another thing that is very important with a graduate degree is time management. My colleagues before me have told you about time and putting everything into its own compartment. And this is absolutely true. It is a lot of work because you are a master. And so you have to manage your job. Most of you are working people. The schoolwork, your families, husbands, wives, children, whatever other responsibilities you have to be able to manage everything. If you cannot manage everything, think about and prioritize what needs to, quote unquote, come off the plate. Attendance at class is very important, whether it's face-to-face, which may not happen this semester, or online. At this level, if you miss one class, you have missed a lot of information. So please try your best, other than in cases where you just really cannot, to be at classes. We know that, as Dr. Cowell had said earlier, sometimes the online is not as engaging as face-to-face, but we try to do our best, and just keep in the back of your mind, this is what I have to do, and I'm going to do it well. Also remember that deadlines are important. Some lecturers take off marks when assignments are handed in past the deadline. I'm going to suggest to you that you get the support and the buy-in of your family, husbands, wives, children, if they are of that age. They feel a part of what you do and less excluded, because you're going to have to spend a lot of time on your schoolwork. And they feel less excluded when you include them. So you can, ask them, how does this look? How does this sound? And they feel a part of what you're doing, and it helps the relationships. At MSBM, we emphasize group work, and you can understand in the workplace that groups and teams, committees are very important, because in today's day, you have to find solutions quickly. We have to find solutions that cover almost all of the issue at hand. Nothing is perfect, but you have to try it. And so a group work component ensures that a problem is being looked at through many sets of eyes. So you're seeing it from different angles, an angle that you may not have seen, but it's an important angle. And hence we support group work. Timeliness of your submission of work, as I said before, is important. Some lecturers take off grades. The quality and the accuracy at this level, lecturers look at English, flow of the presentation, of the submission, the assignment. All of that is very, very important. As Ms. Bennett from Graduate Studies had said before, and I'm just reiterating, the coursework component and the final exam component, whether it is a sit-down or an assignment, both have to be passed for you to pass the course. If, for instance, the coursework is out of 40 and you get less than 20, do not be daunted. Study hard, go and sit the final exam anyway. You probably will pass the final exam, so the only component you have to resit for that course is the coursework component. All right, a program coordinator is a very important person in your journey at Mona School of Business and Management. These persons are your critical points of contact with the general administration and, more importantly, the academic advising and counseling unit. If you encounter difficulties, as Graduate Studies had said, you may want to apply for a deferral or a leave of absence. This has been in writing, but I'm going to suggest to you that you discuss this with your program coordinator first. There may be a solution without asking for a deferral or a leave of absence. The academic counselor will discuss with you if you have an issue, a challenge, something that's affecting your performance, what is actually happening with you. If it's something that we in the unit can't help you with, at least we will know where to direct you so that you can get the best help for the issue that you're having, because we want you to succeed. So we are here to help. Some general guidelines: have a dedicated workspace since we're all in an online classroom. So if it's going to be at home, ensure that there are not too many distractions. So you may want to mute your mic if you have to. If you feel like it's more conducive to thinking and to working at your workplace after hours to attend class, that's fine. But please keep in mind safety. It's of utmost importance to know what's going on now. So please keep that in mind. As I said, keep the microphones muted if you're at home, especially if you have young children. There'll be dogs barking, that sort of thing, because it will distract the class. Take advantage of the chats while the class is going on. Don't feel like you cannot ask questions, because you can. So please take advantage of that and ask your questions, and the lecturer will answer as best as possible. Learning new material is always challenging. And for many of you, this online classroom is the first time you're going to be doing it. Do not get frustrated. Do not give up. Our administrative team is here to help, and we will do the best that we can to help you. And your interest we have at heart, because when you come out with your distinctions, we feel proud and we say, that's my student. If for any reason you are unable to meet a submission deadline, please, please, please let your lecturer and your program coordinator know as soon as possible, not 2 days later, as soon as possible, because it gives the lecturer a chance to determine how they're going to move forward with the assignment. We do understand power outages. We do understand failed internet service, but you have to let us know that you are having a problem. Just don't not submit, because that's not going to be in your best interest. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you again to the Mona School of Business and Management, and we are here to journey with you. We appreciate you coming here. We want your journey to be so good that you will never forget Mona School of Business and Management, and ask everybody else to come and experience the great experience you had here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vanda. So we've come to the point where we want to take some of your questions. Already, many of the questions are being answered, as a number of our members of our resource team are online and are answering in the chat as you ask the questions. We've identified some that are common, and so I'd like to invite Dr. Lila Graham to come to just respond to some questions regarding the MBA. And again, I want to remind you, students, that there are planned sessions coming up where you can get more specific details. So, Dr. Graham, you can join me here. There's questions about the immersion period. Just give them an idea as to what that entails, the time the classes start, etc.
Okay, so the immersion period, as Dr. Mintakoy explained, is the start of the MBA program. We recognize a number of you have been out of the system for a while. So what we try to do is bring everybody back in, and really just to get you up to scratch for graduate work. Because a number, as I said, a number of you have been out, and maybe a little time to assimilate the new education, the graduate program. So we bring you in, everyone together will have classes. Typically we do a mathematical foundation for mathematics, and we do a communications course. Because as you're going to see over time, the communication component is critical to graduate education. So we start you off with that immersion period. You all have to come 3 evenings a week and all day Sunday. So you won't have any particular groups at that point. Everybody will be coming together during that period. And just to point out, for the MBA, since we're starting on Sunday, we'll have our breakout session tomorrow evening. We didn't want to give you too many links at once, so as soon as this session is over, we'll be sending you a Zoom link so that you can ask specific questions about the MBA program with me and our coordinators and the rest of the team. And we'll also give you some training for the tools that we'll be using to do the online sessions.
Okay, thanks. I think we're going to see a question projected on screen. Are classes online or on the campus?
All classes for all graduate programs for this semester will be online. If there's any face-to-face interaction, it will be through smaller workshops, tutorials, and those sort of activities. But given the numbers at the graduate level, all the course deliveries will be done online for this semester.
Okay, thanks. There was a question about if this session will be available for replay, and yes, it will be on YouTube, so you can go back to see the session. Just there's a question about will there be any available facility on the campus for individuals who want to access the internet there for class? Some people have terrible internet connections. We do have the gazebos. Perhaps many of you are not familiar with our physical plant, but as Dr. McBean mentioned, primary concern for us is the matter of observing the protocols, maintaining the distances, etc. The wearing of masks is mandatory on campus, but we do have some gazebos where our students can come to do their work. There's another question that's being projected on screen. Vanessa Henry. Are miscellaneous fees paid to UE or MSBM? Those fees are to be paid to MSBM as well. I just want to also remind everyone that in your package there was a sheet called contact information, on which we had email addresses for all coordinators. We had email address and numbers for the technical support team and also for the accounting team. So some of these questions can be directed there. Thank you, Dr. Graham. I'm going to invite Dr. Mintercoy to join me, as there are some questions that are specifically related to the MSc program. So, Dr. Mintercoy, there was a question about the media management. You want to just talk about that?
Okay, so the media management, of course, is with CARIMAC and the MSBM. The program itself is managed out of CARIMAC, and so all questions related to the administration of the program, timing and so on, can be directed to CARIMAC. And I'm also aware that I believe CARIMAC had their session yesterday, so you can also reach out to the administration team there for further information.
Okay. So, Dr. Mintercoy, some students were also asking about part-time, full-time. Can you just remind them which programs are offered, which MSc programs are offered full-time, which are offered part-time? Some students were not clear about that.
We offer most of our programs on a part-time and full-time basis, but each year this is dependent on the applicants. So for this year, we'll only have one full-time stream across all of our MSc programs, and this will be for corporate finance. All the other sessions will be part-time.
Okay, some students seem to, they would have applied, it seems, for full-time programs and seem only now to be aware of the part-time, but we will contact and have contact.
Yes, we have already contacted some persons, and we're in the process of contacting others. Our challenge is we often have to wait until we get the applicants, process the applications, and then also await the confirmations. So we don't want to run the risk of persons applying for full-time and that at the end they cancel or request transition to part-time, because then that puts everyone else at a little disadvantage. So we are in the process of doing those confirmations, and some have been done already.
Okay, you want to just talk about the dates for general week of sessions for the individual programs?
So most of this information is in your orientation packages, and we will also be having program-specific orientation during the week of August 24. And this will allow you to address specific questions related to your programs. However, for now, the marketing and data analytics program, that classes will be held on Sundays. And as I noted in our presentation, most of our sessions or times are set to accommodate you. So most of our sessions are on Sundays, and with the exception of accounting. So for first semester for our accounting program, our classes will be held on Mondays and Tuesdays, I believe. I need to check, Mondays and Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And the times are 6 to 9 p.m. But again, your orientation booklets, the program booklets, have more specific information. And we will, of course, follow up with the program-specific orientation.
Okay, thank you. We have a question being projected now on screen from Antoinette Williams. She's asking if managers' checks must be made payable to UE or MSBM for fees, and it's for MSBM. And
yes, so Ms. Reed is not in MSBM for sure.
Sure, not the UE. Someone was asking about our app. Is it only available for Android users? The answer is currently it is so, but we are intending to make it more widespread and readily available for others. But currently, it's for the Android users. Someone was asking about how to download the registration package. That information was sent in an email, but we'll ask you to just contact us. You can send an email to msbm@uwimona.edu.jm, just so we can ensure that nobody has fallen through the cracks with that. We're getting another question projected. Thank you, and we were really very pleased at the level of engagement. And as I said, we have a number of members of our resource team who are answering questions as we go along, but we just want to highlight some that may be of benefit to many more persons. Some are very general and some have been repeated over and over. So we want to just highlight them. So we say Xavier Reese is asking, when is registration and the first payment for the MSc in accounting? While Ms. Reed finds a date for us, you want to talk about the date for the first payment for the MSc in accounting program. The 2nd of September. First payment due for the MSc accounting. And we're awaiting the dates for the opening of the registration. Right. There were a couple questions about attendance of class, okay, and recording of presentations. And so, yes, your lectures will be held live, but there will be recordings that will be available for you to view after. And we encourage you, this is a little different from the norm. You have more of an opportunity now to actually go back and review your lecture notes. So we encourage you to do that. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Mintercoy. I think we have come to the end of our session. We've had you for a long time and we appreciate that. So just a reminder, the session for the MBA, the breakout session for the MBA is tomorrow. You will receive the link and the information. It's a Zoom session. There you will meet your program coordinators and get specific details about the program. And as Dr. Mintercoy mentioned, for the MSc programs, those sessions will be held in the week of August 24, and you'll receive those sessions, that information as well. And so it is just left for me to thank you so much once again, in the first instance, for choosing MSBM for following through on pursuit of a program with us, especially at a time such as this. We are not unmindful of that, and we therefore encourage you to keep safe. We hope your families are well, and we just want to thank you. The recording, as we said, this session will be available on the YouTube channel, so you can go back to see it. We encourage you to like, subscribe, share, and we ask you to follow us on social media so that you can become aware of all the activities that we have for you. So, all the best as you embark on this journey. It is not easy, we acknowledge, but our commitment to you is that we together will ride this storm. We have lots of resources available, and our intention is to ensure that you have a successful and productive and meaningful time with us, and that you will join the ranks of our distinguished alumni, keeping the MSBM flag high, and that you may satisfy the kinds of objectives that you would have had for yourself in terms of your own self goals and your self-actualization, and that you would not regret the time that you have with us. So thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good rest of the evening. Thank you.